Hi.
Hello. Hi, nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. Thanks for having us today. Thanks for inviting us to the booth.
You're welcome.
Can you please briefly introduce yourself to the team?
Yes. Hi, my name is Gerhard Gangl from 7IT Technologies. We are a system integrator based in Graz. We are focused on I-10 solutions for customers, especially in the industrial area.
Very good, very good. And just out of curiosity, could you briefly explain to the audience why exactly you chose to collaborate with Sensolus?
Yes, the beginning to collaborate was that we had requirements from customers which were looking for tracking solutions outside of their own infrastructure.
Yes.
So we need something which works global to follow their assets. And then we get to know Sensolus, and the most important thing for us was that it was an easy platform to integrate, so it was plug and play for the first success for the customers, but also that Sensolus is not only integrating one technology, it's a multi-technology device which we have today here. So you can track that with GPS, you can track it with Wi-Fi sniping, you can track it with RFID, you can track it with Cooper RTLS systems. So you have multiple choices, depends where you operate the device, inside, outside, or on your own property or outside of your own property. And this flexibility for the customer makes it very valuable to use it for different scenarios in their supply chain and in their interlogistic processes for returning assets.
Okay, so basically what you're telling us is that it's an extension to your current portfolio, and it actually completes what you're currently offering to your customers, and it even helps you to sell more and better. Is that it?
Yes, that's absolutely true, and that is because customers have different needs and different paybacks, so you always have clearly to choose which technology is the best for solving the problem for the customer, because it has to pay back in an ROI, and the industry today is running about 15 to 20 months for ROI. And if you can achieve that, then you have the right level of invest to return of invest that customers are going to invest in that technology.
Oh, that's funny that you mentioned it. Could you then please briefly explain, because we touched on ROI and customers, could you give us an example of a customer where the ROI was proven and we clearly made a difference as a collaboration and made them save money? Could you give us some examples?
Yeah, so we had customers together with Dietzel Univolt. It's an Austrian-based company which has different locations in Hungary and in Czechoslovakia, and they have that roads transporting their material to the construction areas, and they always lose a lot of that very expensive rolls. So one of the steel rolls is around about 2,000 euros in price level, and managing that assets more accurately to know where they are staying at which construction area, because sometimes they forget to pick up. And today they have a very easy solution, get notified if a device, if a roll is parked for more than 3 weeks without moving, they get automatically informed to pick it up, and they have a clear oversight in the platform which rolls are on which construction areas, and to help them reduce the amount of investments of rolls they need. So the typical outcome is reducing around about 30% of assets when you have a clear traceability where the assets are and in which condition.
That's a fantastic story. So basically what we did is we helped them win money back and make sure that for the future they're future-proof and their supply chain will benefit from it eventually.
And in today's industry, that is the main case, to save money in the interlogistic processes, because a lot of companies have very high quality of production, but the processes before and behind is typically the interlogistic processes. There is much potential to save money today with technology which helps them to make it transparent and operate it better.
Okay, and could you then, with what we have today, also explain how you see the future in terms of Sensolus and 7IT, how this will evolve for you as a company, but also for us?
Yes, of course, because we see the customer base is growing not fast but slowly, and more mid-sized companies have a business case to invest in the technology which pays back. Some years ago it was not the case, it was too expensive for them, but we see more and more the the efforts in digitalization makes them to save money, and it pays back. And then more and more companies starting to invest in the technologies. It's always starting in pilots and later on in rollouts, and not only huge companies, also mid-sized companies running for that. And that is a potential also for 7ID, because the mid-sized companies is a multiple of the huge companies, and there are a lot of more possible customers. And if they see a value in the technology, it helps us to make more projects with customers and help them to save money in their processes.
Okay, very good. Now that we touched upon some of the ROIs, can you then please briefly show us a use case and an example of how our technology and platform will help your business to move forward?
Yes, so the showcase what we have today here is that we have your trackers.
Yes.
And currently we are able to track it with 3 technologies. So we have enabled GPS tracking, we have enabled Cooper RTLS tracking, and it is enabled with an RFID tag inside, which is readable up to 15 meters with an handheld. And that gives us the opportunity to run that device here inside processes in the manufacturing side, where you need to have a very accurate position. If you have a load carrier and you have to exactly know 1 meter where it is standing, you use the Cooper protocol.
Exactly.
If you have just loading, unloading scenarios, you use the RFID tag.
Exactly.
And if you're outside on transport in the truck or on the customer side, you track it with the GPS and the communication over the platform.
So you're blending technologies to make the use case work. Fantastic, fantastic. Maybe we should take a look at your platform and see how it works in reality.
So okay, what we see here today is a demonstration of multiple technology tracking, which is typical scenarios in the industries. So you have different load carriers which you have to send to customers, and you put on, let's say, a Sensolus tracker to identify the load carrier.
Yeah, sure.
And in the industry process, that load carrier is put inside, let's say, in an area where you have an RFID tracking. So if this device is here, you see we had that tracker at the packaging station, and now customers go here and let's say we have some assets with RFID, pack that in the container, and in this scenario you see immediately the goods are married now to that load carrier via RFID, and then this load carrier goes on travel to the customer, and we see inside the factory we have the tracking here exactly movement until it reaches the outdoor of the company, and then that device switches over to GPS tracking, and we can follow the device married with the inside goods to the customer until he unloads it and sends back the returnable for new process runtime. And this is what customers are doing in real with different technologies, and if by RFID marriage to a tracker which is not based on regional environment, and run their processes more efficient, more transparent, and have under control when the goods are shipped to the customer, and the empty load carriers are coming back to my industry to refill it, and you can reduce your load carriers because you're fully transparent in what you are working. And this is a typical process also combined, let's say, with e-ink displays. This is typically, you have human readable information. Also that e-ink display is tracked in real time where it is in the process.
Nice.
And you have buttons here, you can press a button, and this jumps in the process to react and say, okay, we have to do something for the customer, you need help or something else.
Got it.
Okay. And you see, you have triggered the process.
And this is what we need.
This is what we need. This is for today, so you are all invited to visit our booth for a fresh beer in the evening.
Is that one for me, Gerhard?
This is for you and your colleagues.
Thank you very much.
Show up here.
I'm looking forward to this one, actually.
And you see, so you can handle the devices and actions which triggers your processes. you require help or need assistance, or you want to state something. And also the LED blinking shows you if you have a process error, you're not allowed to do something. And in combination, this is what industry is seeking for more and more, also in the mid-sized companies, to do the digitalization, the transparent processes, to save money, make it more accurate, reduce seeking times, no failures, and save costs in the overall.
Gerhard, thank you very much for having us.
Thank you.
I really appreciate the collaboration, and I sincerely hope we can do many more projects together. Sorry.
Yes, I'm looking forward. Yes.
Me too. Thank you very much.
Thank you.